What is up, guys? My name is BobaTalks and welcome to my Arrow Season 6 Episode 7 breakdown/review. Now, I'm not going to do a massive breakdown of this episode in terms of what I would normally do. I normally even talk for too long, to be honest. But that's because this episode wasn't the top episode, but I still wanted to get my thoughts across anyhow, because, you know, just because an episode wasn't great, doesn't mean I don't really want to talk about it. Now, this was like an all-time low for Arrow in terms of ratings. It got seriously low ratings. Now, yes, it was like Thanksgiving kind of weekend and stuff like that, and I believe in previous years shows have actually skipped over this for possible low ratings for that very reason. But I guess not a whole bunch happened, but at the same time, I don't think this episode was as, you know, an atrocity as some people think it was. You know, I didn't think it was mega bad, but I completely agree that it wasn't the best episode of Arrow. In fact, you know, it wasn't that much of a great episode of Arrow we've had in a long time. But that said, there were still some things that happened in this episode. For example, like Thea waking up at the very end. We actually had our Green Arrow back. Oliver Queen got in the Arrow suit once again, out of no choice really, but I found that bit kind of interesting if you think about how he had to lie to William again. Well, again, he had to lie to William for the first time since making the promise that he wouldn't be the Green Arrow, in terms of, you know, that it would obviously endanger his life. He's lost his mum. It makes sense, but I don't know. I just feel like making such a big deal of Oliver not being in the suit because of William, and then for only that scene at the end with, you know, William talking to John, or Diggle, should I say. He was just like, where, if the Green Arrow was out there, then, but you were in here, then who was in the Green Arrow suit? And then Oliver had to lie. And obviously we get how he had to do that because Diggle was out of action and there was potentially a bomb. But at the same time, why build up such a storyline that you're not going to lie to your son if you're going to just chuck it out the window? As easy as that. But don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful that we've got our Green Arrow back, and then obviously the crossover is going to be next week, so we're going to get a heavy Green Arrow Oliver Queen sesh, which we need after having Diggle for quite a few episodes. Now, I'll just put a side comment on that. I'm not complaining about Diggle being the Green Arrow. If ever our main superhero has had to step out of action, whether it be the Flash or whatever, that normally is really nitpicky for me, and I don't enjoy it, especially when they drag it on for multiple episodes. But if anyone had to do it, thank God it was Dig, you know, and I felt like it wasn't actually a bad storyline that came out of that, but I do feel like it's dangerously, and it was dangerously close to just dragging on a little bit too much. It's only for our good old Oliver Queen to jump back in the suit inevitably anyway, so I'd just rather have more Oliver Queen Green Arrow than just being, you know, the storyline we've already had. But that's just me. I don't know if you guys love Diggle in the Green Arrow suit and want him like that, but as I said, it nicely wrapped it up. I like the interaction between Oliver and Diggle this episode, where, you know, you gave me the gift, or the thing that I never thought I ever wanted, which was actually being the Green Arrow, in terms of how he likened it to that Dominator's sort of alternate reality was being the perfect life, and that perfect life for him was being the Green Arrow. So I like little things like that, but ultimately, yeah, if I could change things, I would. But yeah, I'm not denying that there's some cool things to come out of stuff like this. Now let's talk about the main thing that happened with Oliver this episode, and the main prominent thing that sort of has been arching over the season so far, and that's Oliver Queen yet again being outed out as the Green Arrow. Now, the thing I don't like about this is just because I get how it makes an interesting story, and to be honest, if you're a new viewer, or if there are new viewers and they're coming to this series, this probably does make a lot more of an interesting story. You know, Oliver Queen being outed as the Green Arrow publicly, whilst he's the flipping mayor, with a bit of history in terms of how he's been suspected before. I guess that looks cool, and I guess that's why they wanted to run with it, especially with him being the mayor and having a kid. But for someone like me, it's a story that they freaking recycle. Like, what? Is this the third time? I can't remember. No, I think, yeah, it was like Captain Lance was onto him, and then like it happened again, but Roy took the fall, and then now it's happening again when he's mayor, and it's just like, why are you picking up something that was, you know, done and dusted with to be used again in the season? And it's just, I don't know, I don't like that. And I've had a hard time trying to figure this out, but that FBI lady is really annoying me. I know she's doing her job, and I know she's doing the storyline that has been presented with her, but I think it's the story that's bothering me, not the actor or anything like that. But it's just like, oh, Oliver Queen this, coming around the corridor, and it's like, oh, I've got lots on you, and I don't know, I'm just getting tired of it. I wish they would make it a bit more interesting. Tell me what evidence you've got on all of it, on all of that, instead of just being like, you know, I've actually got so much on you that you can't even imagine what I've got on you. Maybe if she presented all this stuff, I'd be like, oh shit, like that's actually pretty damn, you know, how is Oliver going to get out of that one? Granted, this may still happen considering what happened in the courtroom and how their lawyers said they didn't want to give away everything, you know, right at the beginning. So I'm kind of left thinking, should I be excited for that part, or am I just annoyed that this is still going to drag on after the crossover? Now, I guess we can talk about Black Siren now in this episode. I feel like, I don't know, I didn't really like that too much about what was done with her character in this episode. I feel like I was expecting more from Black Siren this season. So far, don't get me wrong, she's been used a couple of times, like we got to explain her about the whole post-Leanne New stuff, but this episode just felt a bit lackluster. I was hoping for more for Black Siren this season, whether it is that redeeming arc that could still be coming, so that's why I'm not dismissing that. But recently, especially in this episode, it's like Cayden James was, you know, orchestrating this kind of op they were doing, and there was just moments that annoyed me where he was just like, you know, if you use your Sonic Cry, and then she used a Sonic Cry, and it's just like, you do realise the consequences of what could have happened if you did that. It's just like, yeah, but it didn't. And moments like that are just like, yeah, but no, it could have happened, and that just bothers me, because it's like, no, is the villain really that stupid? Like, is Black Siren really that, like, oh, I don't care? Literally, that part of the episode could have gone completely differently, and they might have just walked out there just like, oh, we can't get it now because it was, I don't know, they said it was highly explosive. I don't know, maybe that is far too nitpicky there, but at the same time, I feel like those moments are important, and when you give villains with as much hype for Black Siren as there is, lines like that and scenes like that is using up precious time that could have been replaced with something truly awesome, it just sounds a bit stupid, and it doesn't really make me feel that hyped for that character when there's, I don't know, dumb scenes like that. Some of the moments, as I said, it is obviously the writer's fault and stuff like that. It just, yeah, I felt like it was a bit weak. Kind of branching off Black Siren, because obviously in this episode she was heavily involved with Cayden. I do kind of like that they've dropped this moment in the episode where it revealed that he did something very much so to hurt him and somebody he cared about. So it obviously revealed the motivation behind Cayden James and how this is actually going to branch out for quite a few episodes to come, maybe possibly more, because it's a bit in the air about who is the real villain. Is it Richard Dragon or is it Cayden James? Or are they both going to be kind of dual antagonists? Even though it's unbeknownst to Team Arrow as to what exactly they did wrong to, you know, Cayden James, it kind of takes me back to season 5 where Oliver couldn't really figure out what he did to Prometheus or, you know, his father. You know, that was the mystery as to why he was going after him. And yet again, it's another thing that's happened, or that Team Arrow did, that has, you know, made people the villains. So it's quite, I always do like that, where the heroes give birth to the villains. I always think that's quite a good story. From what I've seen of Cayden so far, I do like, I don't think he was that particularly interesting in this episode. I felt like they could have made that moment a bit more dramatic, where he revealed that, you know, you hurt someone who was very dear to me. They could have made that very dramatic, but I do like the actor a lot. Obviously, I don't know if you guys have seen it, Lost was a big thing for him, so I do have quite a bit of faith reserved for this character instead of judging straight away. But what I have to say about this episode kind of coming out of it is I'm not so sure about how much I'm looking forward to in terms of what they've got set up for after the crossover. What we've got to come is, obviously, Oliver's going to come back in the seat of the Green Arrow. I mean, he basically did this episode, but this is going to bring repercussions for, obviously, William. How's things going to go there? I often think to myself, is he just going to accept that he's got a dad who's in constant danger? I feel like that would be a bit hypocritical of the storyline that was so built up in terms of how a kid doesn't want to worry about his parent like that all the time, especially as his mum died. So I guess I'm really interested in finding out about how the hell they're just going to be like, you know, what reason is there going to be that he's going out there and that's all going to be okay? Or are they actually just going to throw it on his ass and suddenly William's going to be understanding of how his dad has to do this? But, you know, it kind of wastes everything they built so far with that storyline. We've got the FBI stuff coming up. I don't know how excited I am for that. As I said, I think that's mainly because we've had storylines like this all before, and yet again, we're getting a bit more of a vamped up version of that, because obviously Oliver is a father now. Well, technically he's been a father this whole time, but he's the mayor, so he's got more eyes on him than ever. I thought at the beginning I kind of liked it, but now the FBI lady's annoying me, and it's just like, I kind of want this out of the way, and I want to see some Richard Dragon stuff, Cayden James, Green Arrow badassery, and I was saying that the second half of the season season is usually extremely strong, and I felt like maybe Arrow Season 6 was starting off like Season 5 in terms of how the pace was a bit slow, but don't get me wrong, the second half of the season kicked ass. I don't know if that's going to happen with this one again, because I don't know, what we've got set up isn't so exciting for me. I'm not sure. Hopefully Richard Dragon brings the flame and the dragon's breath to the second half of the season, because at this point I'm a bit worried. I also wonder what Thea's role is going to play now. Is she? I do know the actress wasn't happy with her role in season 5, I believe. So is she going to have more scenes through here on out? Is she? I can't imagine her joining Team Arrow again, but I could be wrong. Like, I don't think that would happen, but I can't imagine the actor's still going to be happy just being like the mayor's, you know, assistant all season long again. So I'm looking forward to see what happens with Thea again. So even though I thought this episode wasn't as bad as what other people were saying it was, because I feel like there were some moments I really liked, whether it's the scenes between Diggle and Oliver, the villain scene of Cayden revealing a bit of his motives, Oliver getting back in the suit, of course. So there's obviously positives, but some of the negatives, you know, not really too much happened overall. I feel like so far this was just another episode that kind of proved the underwhelmingness of the first half of the season. But so far up until this episode, that never decided that this season was going to be bad for me, because just like season 5, it started off a bit slow, but then holy crap, when all the Adrian Chase stuff started getting going, it was amazing. But now for what's set up for after the crossover, it's making me think, do I have a lot to be excited for, minus Richard Dragon, for the second half? I'm not sure. I don't know. So I think this episode for a lot of people was kind of the personification of the underwhelmingness of this season so far, and I kind of do agree with that. But I guess we're going to have to wait and see. I still think it was a, you know, half decent episode. I'm happy with quite a few things. As I just said, Oliver being back in the suit, blah 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 blah. There's still a few key, crucial and pivotal things that are just a bit like, nah. But let me know your thoughts about this episode in the comment section down below, ladies and gentlemen, and we can discuss it together. Remember, one man's opinion is not all women and men's opinions. So let me know yours in the comment section down below, and we can get talking about everything Arrow. Leave a like on this video, guys, if you did end up enjoying this breakdown of the episode, as it really does show your support for the channel. And if you're new to this channel, maybe even consider subscribing to stay up to date with more Arrowverse content just like this. If you want to stay a little bit more up to date with me personally, you can do so by following me on social media. The link should be popping up on the screen around here or in the description below. But apart from that, guys, I have been me. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day and weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.